You're starting a podcast and you don't have the money to pay for high quality audio in terms of the mixer, in terms of a mic, and you just want to use your iPhone. Well, in this episode, I'm going to tell you a hack to use your iPhone and make the audio sound like studio quality audio. Let's go. 37. Could y'all believe that? 37 days I've been hitting you with some hard, straight, fire content. And I appreciate you guys for continuing to watch every episode, follow, subscribe, like, share. If you please continue to do that, that allows me to keep getting up every morning and giving you heat. Special announcement. I've been telling you guys to listen to your audience. And I'm not telling you because I don't do it. I'm telling you because I do it as well. So starting today, every real episode will be being released at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Why? Because I looked at my analytics and my data, and 11 a.m. is the best time for me to release. You see that when you own your own platform and you look at what the people say, you can literally easily implement what you need to implement as soon as you need to implement it. You don't have to wait for approvals. You don't have to wait for this or wait for that. This is the greatest thing about owning your own table. That's why I tell people you got to own your own table. Stop waiting for people to come and bring you to their table. Make your own table. But I will say every day going forward, starting today, every episode will be released at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's because I looked at the analytics and that's what it said. So this is a real live example of me listening to my analytics. So this episode today will be about how to make your audio better. I did on Saturday, if you haven't seen it yet, I literally did a whole masterclass on how to start a podcast and how to market it and how the money structure works in the podcast. So if you didn't see it yet, I posted it on Saturday. Go check that out. But I wanted to follow up with that because some people say they don't have the money to start the podcast. They don't have this stuff. Listen, we started with iPhones and the technology, the AI was not at a level it is today. And literally, if you do not have a mic, you don't have a camera, you don't have anything, but you do have a phone. And I'm telling you, set your phone up, record video with your phone, audio with your phone. And there is a special app that came out a month and a half ago. I spoke about it a couple times, but literally, this app is totally changed the game. Because I'm gonna tell you a story. Yesterday we recorded Market Mondays. If you didn't see that episode, go check Market Mondays out. It was a fire episode. It was all about what to invest in for 2024. A lot of gems. Caleb Silver was one of the guests, so check that episode. But the first 7 or 8 minutes that we recorded Market Mondays, the mics weren't on. And the only audio that was picked up from the episode was the audio from the camera of the computer, which is not good quality at all. So I said, well, I got to take what I've been learning and apply it and execute for this episode. So what I did was I took that audio, the first 8 minutes of it, the audio that didn't sound right, and I downloaded just that small MP3 clip of that first 8 minutes. I took that clip, I imported it into an app called Adobe Podcast. Go to adobepodcast.com. I'm a member, I pay for all the apps, so I'm not sure how much it costs. It may even be free. I'm not even sure, but however you get on it, try it. I'm sure they have a trial. At least try it. Take your audio that is recorded from like a phone, recorded from a computer, the audio that does not sound like it should sound, like studio quality. You take that audio and you upload it to Adobe Podcast. Now, once you upload it, it's gonna process it. What I believe it does is it literally takes your audio, takes your voice, and literally recreates your voice in a studio atmosphere. It's amazing. It's just totally it's game changing. So It takes about, depending on how long the clip is, it takes a few minutes. Then once it's processed, what you're able to do now is enhance it as much as you want. So you can give 10% effect, 20% effect, up to 100%. I normally stay between 70 to 90. I'll adjust between 70 and 90. Man, I'll tell you, I can't believe how great it does audio. It's totally and truly amazing. It literally changed the game. I wish we had this when we first started, because obviously when we first started, and I was not really great at sound. I really didn't like sound. I don't like that I couldn't see sound. I only could hear it. And like, if I hear it on my computer, it's different than his computer. If I hear it on his device, it's different than his device. Audio was a very challenging task for me. I literally had to put myself in a room for a week and literally learn audio and learn how to see audio. Like this meter here, it says, this meter on this thing right here, this basically allows me to see audio. I didn't understand the dBs. I didn't understand anything like that. But if you want to know audio, you never want to go over 0 dPs. You want to stay below 0 dPs. And if you can go from between -6 dPs to 0 dPs, you have a good audio sound, and it'll sound great on every single device. So that's your goal, to make sure the audio sounds good, but it has to be under 0 dPs. Don't go below like -6 dP. So between that gap, that's good audio. That's great audio, great sound. It'll sound great on every device. But it took me, like, I'm making it simple to you, right? But it took me literally a week of just learning audio to make audio sound great. And now I pride myself in audio. I really think I'm very, very good at audio. Not just because I sat in the room for a week learning it, but I literally poured in myself, putting every bit of information that I could have or that I could find to learn how to make audio sound great in any environment. That's another thing. You have to learn their environment, right? Like, we were traveling with the podcast. We were going to a bunch of different studios. Like, I know how the audio sounds here. I know, right? I have a big fan in the back that I can't even stop, right? Now, I can run all the audio through Audio Podcast. It's going to be time consuming. It's going to be a lot. So I don't do it. Maybe I might start doing it, because in some devices, you're going to hear the fan blowing. But Audio Podcast is going to change that. But I make it sound very, very good, even though you can kind of hear that sound depending on the device you're using. So you want to know what environment, how to make the environment that you're in sound well. If that's putting a rug on the floor, if that's putting sound pads on the walls. Like these right here are sound, these are sound panels. So basically it's styrofoam in back of these panels. And when audio hits this wall, it doesn't come off the wall. That's how echoes happen. Like, that's why glass is not good. That's why concrete's not good, because the audio hits it and it bounces off. What you want the audio to do, you want the audio to go into the wall and you want it to stay there. So that's what the styrofoam, the foam does. It comes into the wall and it stays. So now it doesn't bounce. You don't hear echoes. You don't hear a bouncing effect with the audio. So that's how you make your audio sound better. Basically, just by making the environment good. So if you go into a new environment, you might want to bring some sound curtains where you can take minimize the reflection of the sound. But these are things that I learned in that week, right? And I started to apply them in real life situations. And then through my experience, it even got even better. So if you do not have all these abilities to do all these things, like putting sound panels up, putting sound pads up, you record on your iPhone, and I don't care where you're recording. It could be an echo, a bad echo, it could be all of this. Just record, just do it. And what you want to do is take your first piece of audio that you recorded in the environment you're recording in, and I want you to upload it to Adobe Podcast. Play with the enhance button. Go from 10% to 100%. See what sounds good, right, to you. And I'm telling you, you're going to notice that it's going to sound literally like you was in a $1 million studio. It's unbelievable. And I think it recreates your voice. I'm telling you, I think that's what it does, because it's so amazing. But guys, that is just a really big gem if you want to get in this podcast world. And if you don't want to do video, I say do video because that's another platform to monetize. But if you don't want to do video and you just want to do audio, just recording your iPhone. Just take your iPhone, flip it over, and just start recording. I mean, that's all you got to do. And it's gonna sound amazing, amazing. But I mean, I hope you guys really take this advice and apply it to your real life experiences, especially because I gave you the blueprint on how to do a podcast. Now, all you got to do is make the content. That's all you got to do is make the content. I've made content now 37 days in a row. Different pieces of content, 37 days in a row. Whether it was for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or even an hour, it's 37 different pieces of content that I made 37 days in a row. That takes a lot, right? That's a lot of thoughts. That's a lot of vision, a lot of inspiration, but it could be done because I'm doing it. And don't get so hooked on if it has to be long or not. You want to make your content great as long as it can be great. If it's only could be great for 20 minutes, then make it 20 minutes. If it can be great for 3 hours, make it 3 hours. People will tune in or come back to it and go in and out of it. They'll finish the episode if it's great quality. Trust me. Just think about this. Has there been a time where you were watching one of your shows and you fell asleep on it and you came back and you watched the rest of it? Why? Because it was great content. You were attached to the show. It was a special connection you had to that piece of content that you had to come back to it because you're emotionally involved into the content. Like even my content, I am trying to do it where it's each episode, like each section of the episode, it goes off of each other. Like I taught you how to build a website. I taught you how to set your website up. I taught you how to set your YouTube up. I taught you how to do the podcast. Everything is playing into each other. I know the website's the most important because that's where you're going to be sending people, right? I know the YouTube's important because that's how you're going to distribute your video content. I know the podcast is important because the podcast is basically how you're going to build your audience, right? So everything's playing into each other. And it's like a story. I'm telling the story when I do these episodes, but I'm also telling a story on the drops on my episodes. So it's very important, very intentional. But guys, I really hope you like this episode. I don't like to put fluff in my episode. I like to tell you what it is and what it ain't. And I get straight to the point. And that's why I hope, guys, you love me for that and continue to follow. Go check out Earn Your Leisure. Today we have a dope episode. The student loan doctor, Sonia Lewis, will be dropping some gems. So make sure you check that episode out. Earn Your Leisure for merch, EYO University for higher education. And listen, let's get it, man. Let's get it. Let's do it. We all in this together. I love y'all. Take it easy.